Hello everybody. This is Mark from Mark and Mark, and I'm here with Mark. Mark, how you doing, Mark?
Hey, Mark. Mark's doing good.
Now wait a minute. That seems to be a whole new look for you, Mark, as we go into the new 2016 millennium.
Well, Mark, sometimes you can only take so much of these online bullies, specifically members of the brand that support Vince Russo and that ridiculous site he runs. A particular brand member by the name of Boris. This guy lives in Germany. I didn't even know they had internets over in Germany, but apparently they do, and somehow he speaks English. And he tweets me all these vulgar things, and he was calling me a nerd. He says I look ridiculous. I don't know how to dress. And so I just wanted to show Mr. Boris that I can look cool if I want to. You know, it's a matter of choice with my dress. I try to look professional. So I went out. I did my hair really cool. I got this cool scarf. I think I tied it right. And I don't know if you can tell, got my ear pierced. I got a fresh earring there. So.
Well, Mark, I think what you're referring to in this day and age of the worldwide interweb is, I think they call it hyperbullying, where online you get picked on, you get abused. I think at times they use the word irrelevant for certain people. But Mark, I must ask you now, can you please explain to me what exactly have you done with your hair? Have you used some type of a mousse, some type of a gelatin in your hair? Because you have a certain height now that you've never had before with the hair.
Yes, I went to Walmart and I went over into the home and beauty accessories area, and there was a nice little lady working there, and I said, I want to redo my hair. I want a really hip look. So I need like the best gel that you have. And she gave me this nice bottle of Suave. It was like a 10 out of 10, super stiff. So, you know, I just threw it on and did its own magic, and here's the result. So
now, Mark, let me ask you this. I want to ask you a very intimate question before we get to the topic at hand. And we have a very big topic to discuss. While you were at the beauty salon, did you get a haircut?
Did I get a haircut? No, I've learned that it's very hard to get this cool hip look with short hair. So I have to figure out how I'm going to maintain this phenomenal on top look while not getting the long mullet in the back. So I bought a couple books. I bought a couple magazines with the pictures of the models, and I'm going to cut a few of my faces out and put them on every page of the magazine and see which one suits me best.
Well, Mark, I'm going to share a little secret with you. You know, I know I'm the elder, Mark. I've lived life a little longer. I've been around the block a few more times than you. I'm going to share something with you about the beauty salon, if you don't mind.
Oh yes, I love when you share these intimate things.
Okay,
that's one thing that makes our show special.
I just got to make sure my mother is not around. Hold on a minute.
Okay.
Ma! Hello?
I don't think his mother's there. I don't think she's there.
Okay, Mark, I think the coast is clear. Now, Mark, I learned this. I was somewhere around the...
Oh, Mark, hold on. I just got a tweet.
Hold on.
It's another Russo brand member. This one's from Isaac. says that Mark's mom is at his house. That's why she's not there.
Oh,
This is
okay. You got
ridiculous.
Mark. You got.
This is just ridiculous.
Mark, I got to tell you something. You got me all excited because I thought maybe you had some kind of a spoiler. Maybe somebody going to be appearing at Raw next Monday. Maybe Paige went to the dentist. Maybe Kevin Owens had a hemorrhoid explosion. I thought you had some kind of a spoiler there for a second, Mark. Do not do that to me again.
I apologize, Mark. I apologize. This is what I just get, these harassing tweets from Vince Russo's brand members all day long, and I don't know how to shut the notifications off, and it's just driving me insane.
Okay, we're going to get to this brand in a minute. But I got to get back to my story about the salon.
I'm excited.
Mark, when I figured this out when I was about 17, 18 years old. I think it was a Tuesday. I think it was a February 3rd, 1978, if I am correct. And I believe it was the day my mother let me out of the basement for about an hour. So I had to find something to do with my time. So I went down to the beauty salon and I figured I'd get a haircut. Okay? Well, Mark, what I discovered the first time I ever went to a beauty salon is when the beautician, that's what I think they call her, when she trims the bangs, and you see, Mark, I'm very serious with my bangs. I like to have my bangs just right. When the beautician comes around the front and goes to clip your bangs, are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this, Mark.
Ma! Sometimes, Mark, if it's at the right acute angle, the boobs can fall in close proximity to the face. And if... Mark, why are you breathing heavy?
Continue.
Sometimes, Mark, the boobs, if they fall right in the vicinity of the face, when the bangs are being trimmed, sometimes you get a glimpse of what they call in the movies cleavage. The cleavage, Mark, I don't know if you've ever heard this term cleavage. The cleavage is when the boobage is pressed together. Hold on, let me show you, Mark. Hold on. When the breast, they get pressed together, and you see what looks like a butt crack in the front. And they call this cleavage. And Mark, I got to tell you, between you and me and these four walls in the house, I got a little tickly sensation downstairs in my biker shorts when I saw this cleavage. Now, have you ever seen anything like this cleavage in your experiences at the beautician beauty salon?
No, I usually I need to find out where you're going. It sounds like an excellent place, but I usually get my hair cut by a fella named Eduardo, and his he doesn't have the butt crack here. It's usually protruding from elsewhere, as he drops a comb very often. But I really need to check out this salon. This sounds incredible.
It's called cleavage. Mark, you might want to look this up on the worldwide interweb so there are no surprises when you see it for the first time.
Okay.
Now, Mark, can you explain? Listen, I'm going to let you take over because that story now I've got visions of cleavage swimming in my head now. Uh, can you tell everybody why this special episode of Mark and Mark today?
Okay, but first, I just wanted to publicly thank you in front of everybody, all of our viewers. I received your Christmas card in the mail, and I just wanted to thank you for that. And I wanted to show our viewers the Christmas card here. Very nice, very, very lovely picture there. So I appreciate that. Thinking of me on the holidays.
You're welcome, Mark. The least I could do. The least I could do.
But the reason why we're here, Mark, and I know a lot of our viewers are susceptible to this type of mind control manipulation that is being spewed out by this so-called brand run by Vince Russo at vincerussobrand.com, and they're doing this subliminal messaging about 2 days left to sign up for their membership. Normally, their normal monthly rate has been dropped to $3.95, which is less than $1 a week, and they only have today and tomorrow left of this year to take advantage of that deal by signing up. So the reason why Mark and myself decided to do this show today is to let everybody know the truth of why they should not be signing up for this and falling into this trap of this terrible, terrible product that they don't need to be spending their money on.
Well, Mark, first of all, as you can see in my, I guess that is called a title bar on the worldwide interweb. I guess that's what they call a title bar of some sorts. But as you can see, it is a known fact that if you join the brand, Mark, let me just make this perfectly clear for anybody that may be on the fence. Get off the fence. Get off the fence. If you're on the fence, get off the fence. Because first and foremost, if you join the brand, Mark, you smell and you like girls. So you're publicly admitting now 3 things. I'm a brand member, I smell, and I like girls. 3 things. I don't think you want your worst enemy to be associated with, Mark. And you know, Mark, when I say the word enemy, I don't know why I'm funny this way. You know what word came to my mind when I said enemy?
What word came to your mind, Mark, when you said enemy?
Enema. Enema. Enema, Mark. And it reminded me, you know what? I'd rather have an enema from my mother than to be a member of this brand. What do you think about that, Mark?
I'm glad you said
know
that.
What an enema is? An enema?
Yes, I had to give one to my grandmother yesterday. It's a monthly routine. I just help around the house. It's just one of my chores.
But it's not a pleasant experience for anybody, Mark.
Well, I mean, if you can, like, I usually put on the WWE Network on my laptop in the room. I get my nice milkshake. I focus on the important things while grandma's taken care of. So.
Well, not only that, but Mark, let me just give you this little hint too. When you're giving the grandmother the enema, you have to make sure that the water that travels through the tubage is very hot, Mark. It can't be tepid. It can't be a tepid degrees because that won't work with the enema. Do you know that, Mark?
She always, yes.
Okay. Now, Mark, I have a list here. And listen, feel free to join in at any time.
I will join in. It's the only thing I'm joining because I'm not joining the brand. I'll tell you that. No,
you join in. The brand, you join out. You get out of the brand. You out.
Unless you smell.
Or like
if you smell, you stay in the brand.
Now, here's the thing with this Russo show. Here's the thing with this Russo show, Mark. And I want you to join in at any time because I got a list. This Russo show, here's the catchphrase. Join the brand. Less than $1 a week. What can you get for $1 a week? Well, you know what, Mark? Because this false advertising, what is it called? The bait and the hitch. The bait and the hitch. I don't go for this because you know what? There's a lot of things you can get for under $1, Mr. Russo, with this false advertising. Now, I'm going to put my glasses on top of my glasses, Mark. I want to read a few of these things. For your information, Mr. Irrelevant, for less than $1, I can buy a pen. Mark, you can go in any store. You can buy the big pen. Mark, you know the big pen? You can look through the big pen and you see how much ink is left in the big pen.
Just like this. I bought this for 99 cents.
99 cents. Less than $1. Okay. Should I continue?
Absolutely. I'm making a shopping list as you roll these off.
Well, speaking of shopping list, last time I went to the King Super, there was an avocado sale, 77 cents each, Mark. Now, according to my calculation, Russo likes to use the less than, more than sign, less than $1 a week. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Russo. An avocado, less than $1 a week, Mark.
Did you say 77 cents?
77 cents. And Mark, listen, granted, sometimes they're not ripe. Sometimes they're a bright green. Sometimes you got to put them on the windowsill for a month to fermentate. Whatever that is, less than $1, Mr. Russo.
So let me get this straight, Mark. Instead of wasting my money on this brand, I could take that money that I would give to Mr. Irrelevant and go buy 5 avocados. That's a walk-off home run.
Well, Mark, I think
5 avocados.
Well, Mark, your calculation may be a little off there. No disrespect. At 77 cents a piece, I think if we buy 5 of them, we may be running into the $2 range. But I tell you this, Mark, what I will tell you this. For less than $1, I would gather. Well, now, I don't have the use of a calculator at my fingertips. I got the cell phone. They tell me there's a built-in calculator in the cell phone, Mark. I'm not sure how that works yet. I have not gotten up to that point yet in my explanation book.
Well, you may have to ask your mom to take off the child mode. There's a lot of things I couldn't use on my phone with the child protection. So, like, I had to have my mom put in this passcode, and I was able to use a few other things, but she had to look over my shoulder.
That's what the child protection, that's the child mode. That's what that is right there.
Yes.
I did not know that. I did not know that, Mark. But, Mark, I bet, and don't quote me on this. Don't quote me on this. Listen, I don't have any sources that told me this. I don't have any deep throats that told me this. I don't have anybody, any insiders in the wrestling business that told me this. But if the avocado is 77 cents, I bet, Mark, you can stay under that same dollar and buy one slice of bread, one slice, cut it evenly down the middle, then take the unfermented avocado, cut it up, and I guarantee you get half of an avocado sandwich for under $1.
You know, if I spent this money on an avocado and bread, you know what I would get?
What would you get, Mark?
Energy.
Health.
You know what would happen? You know what I would get if I spent this money on the brand?
What would you get, Mark?
Diarrhea.
Diarrhea. Well, at least you wouldn't need the enema. At least you wouldn't need the enema at that point, which I guess is a positive. We just made a positive out of a negative there, Mark.
Yeah, so maybe we should not make any. There really is no positive.
There's no positive. You join the brand, there are no positive.
That's right.
One other interesting thing you can get for under $1 because less than $1. Less than $1. Mark, I went down to the 5 and the dime yesterday. And you know what I found for under $1?
What'd you find, Mark?
String, Mark, for under $1, a little ball of string. You know how many purposeful uses you can get out of a ball of string.
It's like half a yo-yo right there.
Half a yo-yo.
Russo doesn't tell you this stuff.
No. And you know, Mark, while we're on the brand for less than $1 a week, can we talk about some more false advertisements?
Yes.
Have you seen some of the woofs that Russo has had on this show that he labels vixens who rule? Does Vince Russo really understand the meaning of vixen with the bow wows he's had on this show? Vince Russo, here's a word for you. If you want to understand vixens. Anime? Mark?
Well, it's just another show that they get in the VIP that just proves how irrelevant this man is when it comes to what professional wrestling is. He's doing a show dedicated to these female participants who, quite frankly, if I'm going to go watch a wrestling match and there's these two beautiful women doing these athletic moves, but over here I have Sami Zayn and Finn Balor doing the exact same moves, who am I going to watch? I'm not going to watch these beautiful women. I'm going to watch the men. So this just shows how irrelevant this brand is when he's got an entire show dedicated to these amazingly beautiful athletic women on video. Who's going to buy that?
Yeah, and Mark, how do you have a show, vixens who rule? Vixens who rule. Mark, will you do that with me, please? Vixens. First of all, how do you have a show, Vixens ever? I got one question for you. Hello, Vince Russo. Mark and Mark calling into Vince Russo. Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. Has Jessica Rabbit ever been on this Vixen show?
It's a very, very good point, Mark. I don't think she'd do it. She knows better. She's not going to go on that show.
And speaking of the girls in the wrestling, this past week on Raw, Mark, one of the most disturbing pieces of film I may have ever seen in my life. There was a match, Mark, and you know what I'm talking about. Don't listen. Don't sit there with this hollow look on your face.
If it was on Raw, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I've already watched it 4 times.
Well, there was this piece of film where there was this match between this Sasha Banks and this Becky Lynch.
Great workers.
Great
When
work.
you talk about female workers, they're great workers.
Great work is nonetheless. Great work is nonetheless. But Mark, there was a pivotal moment on this piece of film where Sasha rolled up Becky Lynch and then pulled up on Becky Lynch's shorts. And thank God, Mark, thank God that Becky Lynch was wearing some kind of nude-colored Under Armour on her buttocks, because if she was not wearing the Under Armour, female crackage would have been exposed.
Well, obviously, she understands that that type of nudity just doesn't belong in professional wrestling. Nobody wants to see a woman's coin purse hanging out of her pants on professional wrestling.
Did you say coin purse? Coin
Yes.
purse?
Yes. If we got a crack of Becky Lynch hanging out,
You could put a corner in there? Is that what you're saying? 50-cent piece?
I believe I may have used the wrong term. I'm trying to be hip for Mr. Boris. I'm trying to use the cool words and metaphors. But you see why people don't want to be like that, because it's absolutely lame. Okay? I know I pull it off great. I can pull anything off. I'm just doing this to prove a point. Okay? But nobody wants to see female crack. So I applaud Becky Lynch for keeping that covered up. I know Sasha, the great worker that she is, would not have done that move if she even thought there was a chance that we may see a little crack there. So kudos to both of them.
And Mark, not only that, with all due respect, Mark, we were a good 10 minutes into the match. So with all due respect to the women, we are talking at that point of, pardon my expression, Mark, I'm getting a little, I'm pushing the envelope this week. But if we want to be honest, 10 minutes into the match, we're talking sweaty female crack, Mark, which brings it to a whole other different level now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and it would have been a little more sweatier if they weren't doing all that boring stuff at the beginning of the match. If they were sweating and just doing moves like they should, constant flipping around off the ropes and things, instead of getting trying to do stupid psychology, there would have been even a lot more sweat.
There's no Mark, there's no place for psychology in the wrestling.
But that's them not understanding how to use the NXT product, and they try to change these great workers when they go up to Raw, and they don't let them be the great workers, and they try to do all this other stuff with them. So I think that's a work in progress. But let me tell you something here, Mark. This Vixen show is not my only beef.
Oh boy!
With their
here
VIPs,
it comes.
okay?
Here it comes.
I know they do this Vixen's video show with these beautiful, talented women wrestlers and women from entertainment every Monday. Okay, but every Tuesday they also Vince Russo, who says he was head writer when he worked for WWE. We all really know the truth there, but him and this kiss-ass partner, excuse my language, I just get very frustrated when I think of this guy. His name is Jeff Lane. I don't know who he is, but he comes on these shows with Vince, and every Tuesday they talk about these Attitude Era episodes that Vince supposedly was the writer of. We all know which Vince really wrote the shows. I mean, we were all there. We know the truth.
There's only one Vince.
Right.
There's only one Vince.
Absolutely.
Let's get that straight right now, Mark. There's only one Vince.
Right. And here's my issue with this weekly show that they do every Tuesday, Mark. They go through every single episode from the Attitude Era.
Mark, can I interrupt you for a second, please?
Yes.
Because you do not have the privilege of seeing yourself as I do. I think you're losing a little height with the moose in the hair. The more excited you get, so you might want to take 2-3 seconds here, get some of the height back in the hair for the beauty shot, and then continue on with what you were saying.
Well, I appreciate that, Mark. I appreciate you pointing that out. Let me see what I can do here.
Nice. Nice.
But my issue with this show, thank you. My issue with this show is they go through every episode top to bottom, okay? Top to bottom. But all these doofuses talk about is the writing of the show and what went into putting together these storylines from top to bottom. They don't rate the matches, Mark. I tune into the show. I want to know. Okay, scale of 1 to 5 stars. What are these matches? They don't even do that.
What's the point then? What's the point? What are they talking about then if they aren't rating the matches? What are they talking about?
Exactly. Like anybody wants the inside info that goes into writing a wrestling show. People don't watch the show for the writing. We watch it for the in-ring athleticism. So I'm tuning into this show. I'm sorry. I was told about this show. I would never tune into it. That they would at least try to just go over all the matches from the Attitude Era. Tell me 4 stars, 3 stars. Most of them were probably 1 stars if you actually want to be truthful about the in-ring competition back then. But they just it's all like behind the scenes interesting writing information for people that think that's interesting, that aren't even like real wrestling fans. So no wonder they had to drop the price. They're trying to get people to buy this insane show. Give me the stars. Give me the stars. I still won't buy it though.
And Mark, not only that, but let me just throw this out there too. For less than $1 a week, I'm sure in some store out there, you can probably buy a small box of toothpicks. You know how much usage there is with the toothpick, Mark?
Some of those you can get 1,000 toothpicks in one box.
Have you ever tried cleaning your ear with the toothpick? Sometimes, Mark, I like using the toothpick or the cap of a pen because that many times acts like a scoop. So you put it in and the scoop and turn. Have you ever tried any of this?
Nope. But as soon as we get off this show, I'm going to I'm going to get my $1 out of my piggy bank and I'm going to go buy a box of toothpicks and I'm going to attempt this.
Very nice. Now, Mark, listen. Let's get off this Russo brand. Less than $1 a week. 2 days left. Codeword brand.
Very creative code word, by the way.
Genius.
Very, Mr. Creativity comes up with all these swerves, and we're gonna make a code word brand. Very genius there, Mr. Irrelevant.
Codeword brand. Codeword brand. Your turn.
Codeword brand.
All right, Mark, you're making me a little giddy now. Let's talk about something more pleasant because I got a very important question to ask you. I have not been able to figure out since Christmas morning.
Okay.
Can you share with us some of the gifts that Santa may have put under your tree come Christmas morn? Because I have a question for you pertaining to one of my gifts.
Sure. I got a few that I could run through real quick. I carry these with me everywhere I go. I did get the original WCW comic book, issue number 1. Got that. I've been hunting for that. I also got Ultimate Warrior.
Speaking of WCW, we
Yeah.
all know who killed that horse.
Yeah, so maybe if he did a weekly show about that, I would actually pay for it.
Exactly.
Shh. Code word poll. Ha ha ha. Code word poll.
Poll.
I also got the Ultimate Warrior comic book, issue number 1. And then
Wait a minute.
It's only been 17 seconds.
Why wouldn't you get a gift, have somebody purchase a gift of a man that was such a horrible worker? I'm very surprised at you, Mark, being excited over a comic book of a man that was a horrible worker.
I didn't ask for it.
Okay, all right. Thank God.
What I did ask for that. I asked my grandma.
Can you bring that back? Is there a Sami Zayn, a comic book, Mark? I'm not on the comic book scene like you. Can you return the Warrior comic book and you trade it in for a Sami Zayn / Finn Balor a comic book? Is there such a thing?
I'm sure they're working on it. I mean, but if I'm not there, it's got to be a day one hit the shelf purchase. Otherwise, you're probably talking hundreds of dollars to get a copy. So I don't think I mean, I would probably need like 200 of these to trade in for one of those.
To be realistic. That's being very realistic, Mark. Okay, what else?
I made the mistake. I asked my grandmother to get me the newest WWE video game for Christmas. Okay. So my grandmother gets me this WrestleMania for Nintendo.
Mark, pardon my French, but speak about crappy workers.
Yes. I mean, I'm like, Grandma, this is not the newest WWE video game. This is probably the oldest.
Hello, Grandma.
And B, Grandma, the worst in-ring worker of all time on there. Who wants to play this game? What do you just punch people and beat them up?
Grandma.
Can you do a moonsault on this game? Can you do a hurricane run on this game? Bull crap.
Mark, is it possible that maybe the insertion of the enema tube was maybe a little too high for the taste of one grandma, thus compelling her to go out and buy this game of such a horrible worker?
It's possible. She also just doesn't understand technology. And I'll show you later. But then there was a period of these excellent WWE video games that my mom wouldn't let me buy for a while because they were for adults. So I'm trying to get my backlog of them. But the first one I asked for and I got.
Say log?
I did say log. That was not on purpose. So
PG, Mark with PG.
That's right.
PG.
But this game was rated T for teen, so I had to wait a while before my mom would let me get this one. But I went and I had her get me the WWE
CM Punk
13 game. Yes, and the reason why
Punk
is if a CM Punk chant breaks out of my house, I have this on hand just to whip it out. I mean, they break out everywhere.
And I would imagine, Mark, with all due respect, that item there is probably a $1,000, $2,000 item. If we're gonna base it on the work rate of who's on the cover, we're looking at a $2,000, $3,000 item.
I'm sure it is, because this was the only thing that Santa got me, and I'm just assuming because it was so expensive, you know. But lastly, my mom did get me the new WWE video game, and I've already printed out my custom Kevin Owens cover for it.
Gosh,
Yes, I am a little disappointed because, as you can see, it's in
now
black
is that
and white.
That's what I was just going to ask, Mark. Is that game in the Blu-ray? In the Blu-ray, so we can look at Mr. Owens in all his glory.
Yes, this PlayStation 4 game is Blu-ray format, 1080 p. I wanted to print out this custom cover in color. As you can see, it's in black and white because I made the mistake of also asking my grandmother for a color ink cartridge for Christmas, and she got me this pack of Bics.
And so thus the black and white Kevin Owens.
Yes. And those are my gifts for the Christmas season.
Mark, can I share a couple of gifts with you? First of all,
I'm excited. You wouldn't tell me. I've been calling you for days. You wanted to save it for this.
The first one I want to share with you, Mark, is if you want to do something else, something worthwhile, the gift that keeps on giving, instead of joining the brand for less than $1 a week. Codeword brand. Codeword brand.
Codeword brand. Less than a coffee a week. $3.95 a month. Opt out anytime. Blah blah blah.
Less than. I am wearing an item that I think personally would be a much wiser choice instead of joining this despicable brand.
Especially if you don't want to smell.
Or like girls. Here it is. I'm going to stand up now so you could take it all in.
I need one of those, Mark. Are those less than $1 a week? Mark, can you hear me? Mark, I don't know. Mark, maybe if I get closer. Mark, can you hear me? Mark, I see you.
I'm here, Mark.
I'm here. Okay.
Mark.
Can I get that for less than $1 a week?
Did you take all this in?
I took it in.
Did you take all this in?
That's truth right there. Russo's fat, and he has something growing from his neck. Can you get a more truthful shirt than that?
The gift that keeps on giving. This shirt is a wise investment. Okay.
I'm so jealous. I thought I looked cool.
Well, Mark, I
thought I looked cool.
You all right? Mark,
you just blew that out of the water because there isn't a cooler shirt out there.
But I got another question that I have not been able to get down to since I opened it from under the tree, and I'm hoping maybe you can help me.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Mark, like this item is called Axe.
They spelled Axe wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Not only did they spell Axe wrong. Why? Here's my issue. Why would you put an axe in a box? Hello? Is it a folding axe? Was the old school axe not good enough that we now have a folding axe in a box? And number two, what am I going to do with an axe? You know who the axe needs to go to?
Who could use that axe? I know the answer.
It needs to go to one of each. Vince Russo at Jeff Lane 22 because of the hatchet job they do on this brand. That's who can use the axe in the box.
Could also use that axe to axe that thing off his neck.
Exactly. Very good point, Mark. And I think there's more than one. I think there's numerous growths that he can use the axe for.
Wouldn't surprise me.
So, Mark, listen, one last plea to the people out there. Please lay it out for them why they do not want to join this brand in the next 2 days for less than $1 a week.
Very simple. Obviously, I'm sure they already understand this. All the things you point out that they could do with this less than $1 a week, that they could be buying all these excellent items like avocados and toothpicks. But why you would ever spend your money at vincerussobrand.com to get interviews with these beautiful women in wrestling and entertainment, to listen to two morons ramble on about the highest rated episodes in the history of Monday Night Raw and not rate the matches on a star scale, to listen to this ridiculous Russo chicken necks show. I don't even know what that even means. It's so annoying. The entire show, all he does is make fun of his family, and I don't even think he really has a family, because who would live with this guy? Obviously these stories are made up.
Yeah. And one other thing, Mark, newsflash, chicken neck, less than $1 a week.
I went to KFC and
you want to get this?
I said I want the chicken neck, but I didn't want to tell you this story because the only place I heard of a chicken neck was from Vince Russo. So the guy, that would be like me giving him credit for something, which he doesn't deserve credit for anything. But I was very curious, so I went to KFC and I ordered a chicken neck, and they looked like I was an absolute moron. I don't. They said I don't understand, and they kicked me out.
Who names a show? Who names a show a bucket full of change? What kind of a moron, Mark?
Then not only are you paying for those ridiculous shows, you're paying for a show called The Swerve, which anybody knows professional wrestling, so-called swerves are not required, do not belong. We refer to them in the internet wrestling community as hot shotting, because they're not talented enough to get the people over in the ring, so they have to try to do this other stuff to get them over. So he has this show called The Swerve, where he brings these amazing stars on video every week, which I don't think they even know what show they're coming on, frankly, because who would accept an invitation to be on this show? And then they do this ridiculous show, Lions. You want to talk about ridiculous names? Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Dirt, they do every Friday on video. I don't even understand what that means. These two morons, Russo and Lane, give their opinions on all the news going around the dirt sheets, and it's so like uneducated opinions. There's no experience involved. Every insight they ever say about all these rumors going around is wrong. It's just a waste of time. So why you would spend less than $1 a week using the code word brand at vincerussobrand.com within the next 2 days on these 5 video podcasts plus special bonus podcasts whenever, numerous times a month on this material, I have no idea.
Mark, do you have a clear head right now? You're going to need a clear head in order for you to get the understanding of this. You ready?
I'm ready.
I don't want you to say anything right away.
Okay.
I want you to take it in.
Okay.
All right, ready? Listen, everybody. You need to join the brand. Join the brand at less than $1 a week for the next 2 days. Codeword brand at vincerusso.com. You need to join the brand. You ready?
I'm ready.
Swerve! 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 You see, Mark, you see what I did there? I said join the brand, but the swerve is you don't join the brand.
Oh, that was excellent. That's
coming.
a swerve. That's a swerve.
You didn't see that
I
coming.
did not see that coming.
Why I'm walking like an Egyptian, I have no idea. But you never saw that one coming, Mark.
I did not see that one coming. Oh, you swerved me. That's a swerve. That's a real swerve.
Well, Mark, listen, I think everybody is now convinced. Don't join the brand. We laid out a list of many things you can get for less than $1 a week. These fellas are irrelevant. This Jeff Lane is a virgin, which is it's quite comical to me, to be honest with you. Last virgin I knew was in The Last American Virgin, which if my mother knew I went to see that movie, I'd be in hot water.
He needs to go hang out at Full Sail University if he wants to learn how to get women.
He'll get some hot chicks over there. I'll tell you that much. But Mark, listen, one last thing I want to tell you. Listen, we're approaching New Year's Eve. Please tell Grandma not to drink and drive, especially if you're in the car. Now, listen, what Grandma does on her own with the drinking and the driving, that's up to Grandma. But if my good friend Mark is in the vehicle, please tell Grandma no drinking and driving.
Well, sometimes it's not always water in the enema tube, if you get my drift. So I do not try not to get in the car on those days with her.
Yeah, and rightfully so. And rightfully so. Well, Mark, listen, we got our point across. I doubt that anybody is ever going to join this brand again. And from me to you, I want to wish you a very, very happy New Year.
Same to you, Mark. What a year 2015 was in professional wrestling. You would see there's no way that 2016 could ever top this year, but I just have a feeling somehow they're going to pull it out, man. Another amazing year of wrestling.
Did you just say pull it out? Was that some type of innuendo, Mark?
Did you say in your endo? We may have to. We gotta be careful. We may have to click the explicit content for this show.
Right, we're getting a little giddy. We're getting a little giddy. That means it's time to wrap it up.
Yes.
But Mark, I do wish you a very, very happy New Year, and I look forward to spending the 2016 with you.
I can't wait.
All right, Mark. Take care. Goodbye, everybody. Don't join the brand. Tell them, Mark, one last time.
Don't join the brand. It sucks.
Period. Goodbye.